my name's Marcus Philly from Revival Strength, and I'm here to give you some quick tips on proper kettlebell rack positioning. So a lot of the clients that we see and we work with came to us through a fitness population that actually learned how to lift weights with barbells and dumbbells. So when we introduce kettlebells to them, they're very unfamiliar with some of the basic concepts. Now, the rack position is one of the most fundamental positions in kettlebell training, and we see it done incorrectly very often with our audience. So here's some of the mistakes that we see and then some of the corrections that you can make. The kettlebell rack position in an ideal rack is going to be wrist or forearm pressed against your chest, elbow down, shoulder packed and stable, and then there's a slight flex to the wrist. So from here I can press, I can squat, I can move into another swing, but this is always where I want to return to. Some common mistakes that we'll see are the bent wrist, okay? A soft wrist, bent back. This is going to put extra strain on the elbow, on the shoulder, and it's going to take the kettlebell and it's going to move it into an off-center position, which isn't going to keep it close to your center of gravity. The second incorrect position that we see is a proper straight wrist, but the elbow is going to be flared up. Now, by flaring the elbow up, we're actually moving the load onto the shoulder, and it's resting on my shoulder in a way that might feel like it's easier. It's going to feel a little less taxing on the body, because when I'm in a proper rack position, that kettlebell is actually in front of my body weight, forcing my shoulder blade to work hard, forcing my torso, my core musculature to keep me upright, as opposed to this position. So elbow down, and in this common fault, flex the wrist. And then the last would be kind of like a combination of both, with a soft wrist and elbow turned out, or even sitting on top of the shoulder, neither of which are going to put your elbow and your shoulder in a strong position, unsafe, potentially harmful, and also not get the benefit of holding the kettlebell in a proper rack, which is actually going to develop your shoulder blade. It's going to develop the muscles that stabilize the shoulder, the scapula, the rotator cuff, and it's going to make your trunk and your back muscles have to work hard to maintain upright torso position. From there, I want to show you guys one of my favorite movements, something that we've put into a lot of our functional bodybuilding programs at Revival Strength, and it's called the Philly press. So I'm going to demonstrate the Philly press in a half kneeling position. You need to have a strong kettlebell rack position for this. So I'll show you a couple repetitions. So essentially the Philly press is a single arm or a unilateral kettlebell press in a kneeling or a half kneeling position, and the opposite arm is holding a static isometric kettlebell rack. Why is that unique? Well, you can do single arm pressing, and you can get a lot of the value of doing unilateral press work with a kettlebell by adding in that non-working arm isometric hold. What you end up getting is twice the time under tension for your shoulder blade and your scapula when you're doing these press sets. So I'll do my 8 to 10 repetitions on my left arm, all the while my right shoulder is having to hold an isometric, which is building muscle endurance, it's building good motor control, and it's helping build strength in that scapula. When you switch sides, same thing. The other arm is going to get that same dose response from holding that isometric. So at the end of your 3 to 4 sets that you're going to do in your strength session, both shoulders have gotten double the work, double the time under tension. You're going to build really, really strong shoulder blades, a really strong back, and a strong core. All right, I hope those tips help you to improve your kettlebell rack position. Give the Philly press a try in your next training session. And if you're interested in learning more about our training concepts, head over to revivalstrength.com and jump onto our email list, where we're sending out free workouts and training tips every single week for you guys to try.